What up, everybody? This is Dario Hunt from Living Life Fearless. Today's date is February 8th, 2019. Welcome back to the Fearless Show. With me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Reese Walker. Say what up to everybody.
What's going on, everybody? Artist D. Walker here. Welcome back to the Fearless Show. I hope you guys have been well. Me and Dario back to chop it up and, just keep you up to date on some of the topics that we find interesting.
Yeah, I see you got some, throwback gear on right now.
Oh, yeah, the old swag. I don't know if y'all know about this. Ooh, the old swag. The long lost. Sorry, guys, but it's members only gear now.
Yeah, some of our older stuff. You can also see he's got our brand new beanies on.
Yeah.
I kind of got a throwback Fearless shirt and, hat. So if you like any of the gear, we rocking these videos on our podcast, you should definitely head over to the site and grab some for yourselves. But let's hop right into this. You recently went to an art show in New York, correct?
Yeah, I mean, New York's got art shows all over, everywhere. But yeah, I went to a new show recently at Brick. It's a art center or art gallery in Brooklyn. And they had this biennial. It's their third volume. And this one they're calling the South Brooklyn edition. And basically it focused on artists based in the area of South Brooklyn. So it's a group of emerging and mid-career artists curated by Elizabeth Ferrer and Ginny Guerrero. Probably butchered these names, so forgive me.
Probably.
But yeah, you guys should definitely check out the Brick Biennial if you have a chance. But yeah, it was a pretty cool show.
So, thoughts, impressions, anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. They had the curators selected a group of artists that displayed a wide range of mediums and materials. There was some installation set up, and there was a lot of interesting stuff. There was some weird stuff. There was I don't know. There was a lot of interesting ideas. One thing I saw first, so when you walk up to the building, it's this huge glass window, and then most of the biennial space is in the basement level, but you can see that whole level. You're just above it, so you can look inside and see the whole area. But against the wall, there's this tall piece going up, and it's a bunch of Jesus or crucifixion portraits, but it's made out of Legos. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen a contemporary artist use Legos in a long, long time, so I thought that was an interesting little thing that it looks cool. I like how it deconstructs because it's just the squares, but that was cool. There was some kind of sensory chamber kind of thing. I saw somebody laying down and there was a dome over them with lights and sound changing, and I was I didn't get a chance to experience it because it was the opening. You gotta go back on days when it's not a crazy happening so you can experience those kind of works. But yeah, all in all, it seemed pretty solid. There was a lot of abstraction, not a whole lot of figurative narrative-based work, but yeah, a lot of sculptures. I saw one, actually, there was something interesting. It was an abstract painting installed, and then I saw somebody walk up to it, and it was the artist, but they had grabbed the painting and it was hinged against the wall, so it opened a door, and then there was stuff hidden behind the painting on the wall, and I thought that was crazy cool too, because you don't necessarily see interactive paintings or things like that. So yeah, there was a lot of little odd, quirky things in this show. So it seemed like a lot of I don't know, slightly not traditional, like using traditional art techniques or styles, but in a slightly quirky way.
Mm,
Um, so I found that sort of thread throughout the whole show. So it's
that's
pretty cool.
dope.
But
Shit.
yeah, I got some photos, so um, as soon as I can edit it down to the ones that look good enough to post, it'll be up probably this week. Or
Bet.
what's today? Next week. What's today?
Next week.
Yeah.
Today's Friday.
Yep. So
So yeah,
yeah.
if you're definitely in the area, should go check that one out. I don't know if you have heard of an artist, a British Iranian artist named Sarah Maple.
Sarah Maple. Not off the top of my head, no.
Well, apparently she is a pretty provocative artist. She's, I think, also Muslim, so she has a lot of her work is very uh, unapologetically like feminist and political, and talking about religion and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Always like some of the focus of her work and the stuff that she tackles, and I guess she is making her stateside debut.
Oh.
And she's actually coming to Untitled Space, which I believe
Oh,
is
dope.
somewhere around you.
Yeah, I think Untitled is in Tribeca.
Not sure, but Untitled Space somewhere in New York. I don't know for sure. She's had this. She got her first. This is her debut, U.S. debut, and
Mm.
it's called Thoughts and Prayers. And I think a lot of it will be tackling like gun violence and just the whole gun debate in America, as well as I think some of her older, more prominent pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just one that kind of stood out to me, and
Interesting.
you should definitely look into that one if when you get a chance. And something I think your girl Sarah would probably be interested in too.
Yeah, definitely.
Because just looking at some of her images, definitely, strongly opinionated and strongly, making strong statements about a lot of things.
Yeah. Oh, snap. It looks like it closed today. Thoughts and prayers.
Ooh, you're right. It was
Yeah.
today. I just looked at it now.
February 8th, yeah. January 22nd through February 8th, yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you can't check it out, but I just definitely that jumped out at me.
Damn. That's interesting. Oh, yeah, that's in Tribeca. I know where that space is. I had work in there once. Huh. Well, that's too bad I missed it, but that's dope. I'm gonna keep her in my. I'm gonna try to find her on Instagram and see if I can follow her.
Yeah, you should. It's definitely like I said, it's definitely strongly opinionated and makes like very strong statements. Nothing really subtle about the messages he's trying to like come across with. And apparently, that always has caused her a lot of flack being a Muslim woman and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was my contribution to the art conversation.
Oh, I did want to shout out one of my friends,
Who's that?
Gerald Sheffield. He's the artist I met at SVA when I went to the school. When I went to the School of Visual Arts, he was in BFA, and I was in the MFA program. And then he went to Yale for his graduate, so he's got an MFA there. But he just had a little pop-up solo show, and I think he's also in a group show this month. I got photos of those, so I might be posting his solo pop-up as well.
Okay.
But yeah, shout out to Gerald.
All right. And if you did want to check her IG, it is Miss Mapes. So MSMAPES on Instagram.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Speaking of art, I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl, but one commercial that definitely stood out to me. I think there weren't many. I think pretty much Super Bowl commercials have gotten worse every year, and they've kind of lost their importance, I think, with the internet too, because now they're showing commercials before the Super Bowl even happens, on YouTube. It's just strange. Like,
yeah,
this
I
is
didn't.
the Super Bowl commercial, and they'll say it in the title, and it's like, well, it's not the Super Bowl, but all right, bro. Like,
Right, for real.
but one definitely stood out to me, and it was Andy Warhol. Was in a Burger King commercial. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh no, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch. He was in a Burger King commercial?
Yes.
What?
So it was one that when I watched it, I was like, he looks fucking familiar. Is that? Nah, it can't be. And then, cause it's like older footage, obviously, of him like eating a burger.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything, like he's just eating a burger. And like at the end, the catchphrase is "Eat like Andy."
Oh, I did see that. That's so weird. Oh, crazy. That's so weird. I don't know about that. I don't know if I'm going to Burger King anytime soon.
You tell me that didn't get the art crowd?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, anybody who doesn't already like Burger King is not gonna try Burger King and want to go there. You got to be a fan from like when you were a kid. I don't know if anybody's taste buds nowadays is gonna try Burger King for the first time, even if Andy Warhol says it's good.
I mean, thought it was. I thought it was interesting. Like, I mean, honestly, I think Burger
That's
King
kind of weird.
has some of the best marketing. Has one of the best marketing teams out of any company in any industry for sure.
Oh yeah, it's genius. They definitely made money. I know that art students are definitely gonna go there just because they put that in their mind. Like, oh, they care about the arts.
Like, it definitely. I mean, they all, like I said, all their commercials always seem to stand out. One that always reminds me is, I don't know if you remember when they were doing the Cheesy Tots one, and they just had a ton of fucking hilarious commercials for that one. But this one just stood out to me because I was like, is this Andy Warhol? I was like, and then like at the end, the Burger King logo pops up, and like you had no idea that that's what it was, like actually a Burger King commercial.
I don't know, man. Burger King always had crazy commercials. I don't know if I remember that. I remember every time you watch it though, it would either make me laugh or like at least be interested, like it was an episode or some shit. Like it didn't seem like a commercial. It seemed like Burger King segments. They're smart.
I mean, this one was definitely a segment. Like, it didn't feel like a commercial until the Burger King logo popped up at the end. And you're like,
Right.
you had no idea where it was going because you just see a guy unwrapping a burger, a guy that looks like Andy Warhol.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it is Andy Warhol. And then you see the Burger King logo pop up and say, "Eat like Andy." And there's like no words even spoken. So,
Right.
I mean, it's kind of genius. It's definitely kind of genius. You wouldn't expect that from a Burger King commercial. Mm-hmm. But he even eats it like I suspected a guy like Andy Warhol would. He pours ketchup like on the bag and then like dips his burger into it before he eats. So
that's awesome. That's hilarious. I'll do that sometimes. I'll dip the burger, but I still put ketchup on it.
Pretentious artist.
Yeah, man. You ain't about that art life. You got to art a little bit to dip your burger, homie.
Yeah. But speaking about the Super Bowl, I don't know if you even got caught at least the halftime show.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The halftime show.
I texted you like right after it finished.
Oh my God, your text was hilarious. It made me laugh. You just sent me a text. Halftime show. It's trash.
Complete
and
trash.
I was like,
So
oh boy.
trash.
I was like, maybe it's not that trash. And I was like, what? I was so confused. I was like, this is the halftime show?
I
That's
mean, it was
crazy.
exactly like I told you, I think last week, where I was like, it was the most basic, boring, safest, don't want to, don't want to upset anybody type of show. Like, it was
Yeah.
so fucking boring. Like,
And
it's
then
just him
Travis's performance was not even.
half a song.
I was like, why do you even go up there? What was the point of being on stage for 30 seconds?
Exactly. If you're gonna
Like,
take all this flack and shit, like if you're gonna take all this flack and be like, fuck that, I'm still gonna do the show. This is what you come out with?
for real, the
Like
beginning of Sicko Mode, and back to you, Adam, and Maroon 5.
yeah. And then people were like, okay. Like,
mm-hmm.
great intermission, and then like Big Boy came out and did like half a song of I forget the name of it. Maybe The Way We Move or How We Move, whatever. And then another half a song of some
Yeah.
older shit, Outcast shit, and then it was off the stage again. Like, bro, this is what
Mm-hmm.
y'all. This after all this is what y'all came up with. Like, bro, missed opportunity, like a motherfucker, and like they were on stage and like they didn't move from the one stage, bro. That shit was terrible. And the best part about it was the fucking SpongeBob Sweet Victory part when they were doing when they showed SpongeBob doing his Super Bowl shit.
That was the best part. That's so funny. Man, the whole bowl. I heard from people that the whole
That was
Super
the
Bowl
best part
itself,
about
like
it.
the actual
Like
game,
when
was boring. They're saying the game was one of the most boring
it was
games.
the most boring Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life.
That's crazy.
And like that's what I'm saying. Like it was such a missed opportunity, especially when the game like that is dragging on the way it was and was so boring as it was. Like this is your opportunity to like be basically the talk of the night with the amazing show, but you fucking failed horribly on that.
Yeah. Well, they said it's the lowest rated Super Bowl in 10 years.
I mean, I don't know if that means like people that didn't watch from the beginning or people that just stopped watching because I stopped watching going to the fourth. Like I was like, I can't do this.
Right. Yeah. I don't know how they calculated to split it up, but I think it's funny. Makes sense. I mean, people aren't gonna watch boring shit. Like
Horribly
if the
disappointing
entertainment
all
is
around,
boring, how is the entertainment? How is this thing that's supposed to not be boring boring? That's just bad. They shouldn't have forced it. They were trying to force some kind of Atlanta artists in with a headliner that had no controversy or wouldn't be, you know. So I don't know.
It would have been better with controversy. Like it would have been better if he did like actually make a fucking statement.
NFL's not ready for all that. They're just trying to make it another year. They're trying to wait for all this heat to die down.
Obviously, that was the wrong decision if it's the lowest rating fucking Super Bowl in the last 10 years. So
yeah. They're making bad decisions left to right. I'm not saying they know what they're doing right now.
I mean, are Maroon 5 employees of the NFL or do they want to, actually raise their profile even more? Because that didn't do anything for them.
Tax.
It was just like, hey, remember this song from us last year? Moves Like Jagger? Let's play that one, And it was like, hey, at the end he was like, yeah, this shit's getting boring, so hey, look, my shirt is off. Like
yeah. I saw a meme of that. There was a meme of Janet Jackson like with her face like all like angry. And she was like her face when she saw Adam reveal both nipples on stage at the Super Bowl.
He did that shit 15 years ago. She beat y'all to it. Come on, bro.
Bro.
You know your show's getting boring when you gotta resort to shit like that.
Right? It's like, Adam, what are you doing? What was the
Sad.
point? What do you That was about as impressive as Travis's 30 seconds.
That shit was terrible. You guys let us know what you thought about the halftime show. Did you enjoy it? Did it live up to your expectations? Did you even watch it? I mean, I think a lot of people watched it just to kind of see if anything would happen at the halftime show, and
Yeah.
absolutely nothing
Was there a
happened. I think
commercial we
people
missed
kind
that you
of
like?
sucked. Definitely sucked. But I don't think we talked about this when it happened. Empire actor Jussie Smollett, I believe is how you say his name, and his recent attack.
Hmm. Yeah, I heard about him basically getting attacked by what he said was two dudes with MAGA hats on that allegedly poured bleach on him and put a noose around his neck. So this is a pretty crazy story, and it's basically in the news right now, and there's a lot of attention around it because some details are like a little foggy. So now people are wondering if it's true. But yeah, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, honestly, no, nothing against him or whatever. But honestly, my first reaction was, "Is this really true?" Because it sounds like almost too crazy, even for today's standards. Sound like super
Yeah,
convenient that
I
two
was
guys
like,
in
damn,
MAGA
that's
hats
crazy.
attacked him with bleach
Two
and
dudes with MAGA hats targeted you and said, "Hey, you're the you're the gay dude from, like, or you're the black faggot from Empire." And like,
to be honest with you, I didn't even know who he was. Like, I don't watch Empire. Like, I have no idea. So
I
it's
was
hard
just
for me to
telling
believe that a
somebody,
fucking
for real. I was just saying he's not that famous. Like Sarah was like, he's famous.
he's
Blah. I was
not.
like, he's not that famous. He's
He's not
famous
that
for
famous.
Empire. But that's where the murky details come in because his first phone call was to Lee Daniels,
Really?
not the police. Yeah, he called Lee Daniels first.
Huh.
Yeah. I thought that was odd.
It's fucking strange.
Yeah. I was like, well, okay. All right. Um, but then there's also, I don't know, it's just weird. It's just there's this weird information. I'm getting too much conflicting stuff. I just want the cops to like either leave it alone or like, because what happens if they like air out real details about something else and then he has to come back with a statement explaining a truth or something? Like that would end his whole
Yeah,
shit. Like
bro.
his whole he'd be done before he started.
This is why I'm always like, no matter what, like, bro, let's wait and kind of see the facts. 'Cause I'm like, why people jumping out the window about this, and I'm like, well, this shit doesn't even really sound credible, honestly, to me. And I'm not saying
I'm still confused.
I'm not
I'm like,
saying
well, if they just
it
had
didn't
hats
happen or
on,
it couldn't happen, but I'm
cameras are
saying
around.
shit just sounds fishy. Like, I just want to know. I need some facts. Like, I need.
Yeah, for real, for real. It sounded weird, and it was at like 4 a.m. or some shit, like 3 a.m. or some random shit. I don't know. It was weird. Like he just went to a Subway. Like I'm like, so you just went to Subway mad early in the AM, and somebody knew who you were from a TV show, and had bleach and rope to make a noose, or just a noose ready to go
Yeah, it's like what?
in Chicago.
Like you're
Like
telling me there's
in
two
Chicago.
MAGA hat wearers that believe in this so strongly that they'd attack somebody. They know Empire and they know the actors on Empire enough to know that they're going to target you. It's like seems
I
a
know,
little
man.
fishy to me.
And I haven't seen, like, he doesn't even look bad. Like I wanted to see, like, Bow Wow looks way worse than him. He doesn't even have marks, fam. Like Jussie or what? He doesn't have any marks. He looks fine. If I've seen people who had
Right.
ropes around their neck, they have permanent scars. Like he didn't have. If he had a rope around his neck, it wasn't used very hard because you'll get rug burn. Like there's gonna be marks at least for a week or two. He
Like
looked fine to
honestly,
me.
that it, like you said, it didn't look like he was really beat up that badly, and so like they barely attacked you, and then they just throw a rope on you, and pour some bleach and left.
Yeah, like all right,
Feels
I'm out. Like
look
why would they
honestly
leave you
like
bloody? Why wouldn't they kill you? What
if
was that? What's the
if it's
point?
true, I'm fucking this is horrible, obviously,
If it's true, we need to find these dudes
but
and put them up
if it
on
comes out
blast.
like this is some PR shit or some cover up shit about some other shit, and I'm just gonna feel I'm gonna feel so much worse because like, bro, like you're gonna make so many people look stupid, including more
Yeah.
than just yourself, and like that's why I'm like that's why I never just jump out the window when you just hear something on the internet,
Yeah, for sure.
like you
So
remember that.
I'm waiting it out. I'm not choosing sides. I don't know if it's true or false. I just think it sounds weird.
Like,
And
do you remember the Ryan Lochte shit after the
yeah, the Ryan Lochte shit. Yo, we got robbed. Nah, those dudes were crazy. They we got robbed. Oh, he said they got robbed. That's
and
crazy.
like right when I heard that shit, I automatically felt like shit sounds a little fishy, bro. Like
Right.
then like the next day, shit came out that it was like all a lie, and really he was the fucking asshole, and then all it's just like,
Yeah.
please don't be this situation, like please, bro, like
Nah, for real.
shit's
But this
already.
is worse because this is like it's like this is a very political
That's what I'm
argument.
saying. Like racially and politically, shit's already super strained. So please, bro, like don't do this shit, bro.
Right? To give
Like don't let
fuel
this be some fake
to
ass
like
story,
all
bro.
these.
Because it just seems too convenient. Like that shit sounds so made up. Like,
It's
oh
weird.
yeah, two guys wearing MAGA hats came at me and said, "Hey, you're the guy." Remember, and like beat him up and threw some bleach and fucking had a noose and just put it around his neck. Softly put it around his neck. Like,
Hmm.
I'm. I fear for the worst, bro. I fear for the worst from the story.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it, I mean,
I
but
really do.
shit.
Like,
If it's true, prayers, man.
please don't be wrong. But I mean,
Prayers either way.
oh, if it's true, it's fucking horrible, and they deserve the backlash and response it got from everybody. But if this is false,
It's
it's gonna be.
disgusting if it's
I
false.
think. I think it'll be even worse. Like,
If it's
I just
false,
think it's
fam,
too
I'm
convenient.
over Lee Daniels. Yo, if it's false, we're gonna have to talk about canceling Lee Daniels
Canceling him. But you said Lee
because
Daniels. What does he have to do
yeah,
with it? Why would we cancel him?
I think this is because I feel like him calling Lee Daniels. I feel like this is Lee Daniels' alibi.
I just feel like there's
So Lee
something
Daniels.
else that happened, and he's trying to like.
Well, I heard a conflicting stories. I heard different stories about um, like a scorn, like like him hitting on a dude that had a boyfriend or something that they all knew about, and like something went down, and then like I don't know, it was like weird. Like it was like all kinds of weird like stories are in the air. So like it could have been a revenge like beat up, and then they wanted to say something else happened to cover up what really happened in his personal life. There's other weird. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Until they find the criminals, like, because there's nobody in custody. They're just investigating. So
Like I said, I just hope this is what it is, and it's not some other bullshit, bro. Like I really do. I really do.
yeah.
Because that would be fucking horrible. Like for me, like it's just as bad. Like you know, we always talk about when like white people always try to like blame it on some random black guy, you know, like to cover up some shit. Like,
Yeah.
oh, these black
Yeah.
guys attack me.
No, it's so
That
funny.
shit, like
That reminds me of Liam Neeson.
you know, they can't go the other way too with it. You can't say, oh, some guys wearing MAGA hats did this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bruh.
Right.
Come on. It's
No,
not-
facts. Yeah, that's stupid. It looks foolish. A MAGA hat doesn't equal, you know, I can treat this person or this person is not a human now because they have a MAGA hat on. Like, that's not what that means. But super sub, man.
Look, I can disagree with the MAGA hat people wearing MAGA hat all the time, but that doesn't mean they're all like fucking like representations of like the KKK or some shit like that at the same time. So it's like, come on, let's please not do this. Please let this be true. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess hopefully we'll find out soon, man, because this just sounds a little fishy. But I don't know. For
Yeah.
those of you who've been following the story, what do you guys think? Do you think this would do so much damage if this wasn't true? Did the things sound a little fishy to you? What was your response right when you heard it? Let us know in the comments down below. So, we're gonna talk about like a lot of movie stuff. There's a lot of that stuff in the news lately.
Mm-hmm.
So Casey Affleck has been showing a film at some film festivals called Light of My Life.
Mm-hmm.
It just debuted at the Berlin International Film Festival. Doesn't have a distributor or anything, but you know he's trying to make the rounds. And it is like some drama that is set in a society without women. And I don't know if you guys have been following Casey Affleck's, you know, troubled history. It's got
Was that for legal reasons?
This is what I'm saying. It got the expected response. Let's put it this way. It definitely got the expected response.
What the fuck? Fam. Oh, that's hilarious.
Like, hold on. Wait, was this because you were accused of sexually harassing all these women and you got all these lawsuits? Like, a world without women? Like, bro, what's going on here? You know?
For real. Like, all right. I'm not working with women no more. Like, I need a script. We're going to write something up. All right. A land with no women. I've got it. That's the only way I can't get in trouble.
Like, if this was coming from anybody else, I don't think people would think twice about it. But the fact that it's Casey Affleck doing this,
for real, this sounds more like Steve Carell's lane.
Right when I read this, it's not even a comedy. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a fucking
exactly,
drama.
but
like,
still, yeah, that's a little weird. That sounds like
right when I like
the worst version of
the
Handmaid's
title of the article that kind of talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like right when I read it, and it was like Casey Affleck movie about society without women. My immediate reaction was like, probably should have kept this one in the back burner.
Mm-hmm. That's so weird, man. Nonsense.
Like, who's his manager? Who's the people in his circle? Like,
They let them all
didn't
spend
pull
money
this
on
man
that.
aside and say, "Hey, I know you worked on this one, but let's maybe not put this out at this time. Let's hold on to this one a little longer.
That is so weird, man. Nobody put that together in this camp. Nobody said, people are gonna think this when they think this. When they hear about this, they're gonna think about blah blah blah. Like nobody said that to him.
Like just maybe let's not put this one out right now.
That's crazy. That's wild.
But yeah, wow. He's doing it, and it got the very expected response, and I'm pretty sure
that's crazy.
It's even if it's a good movie at this point, like it's going to be hard for people to like really want to watch it or take it seriously with everything else that's surrounding it that's going to overshadow it. So I'm not sure.
Definitely. No, there's actually. Did you hear about the Liam Neeson controversy?
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next topics. I mean, but before we get to Liam, because that's going to be, I think, a pretty long conversation. I just wanted to also bring up Woody Allen, who has also had a very controversial history with women. He is suing Amazon Studios for refusing to distribute one of his movies that they had already kind of had a contract for. It was delayed, and then they just decided not to do it, and it was all because of, the allegations of him molesting Dylan Farrow. Like, she brought those back up after when the Me Too movement kind of started popping off, and like those came up again, and yeah, and then I guess Amazon just decided that it was too much, too much around it to put it out, and they decided not to do it. Now I guess he is suing them for more than $68 million in damages.
Huh. $68 million, huh? I don't know how much you're gonna get right now. What's his name? Jeff Bezos? He's in the middle of losing half of Amazon right now. If his divorce goes through with his wife getting 50%, but
yeah, he'll still be a billionaire. So,
and then she'll be the richest woman in America, in the world,
and he'll still be a billionaire. So,
yeah,
don't really feel that bad about it, but
yeah, 150 bill. That's
Jeff Bezos is another story that he's just got his own issues to deal with. I don't know if you saw that he put out like a preemptive post saying that National Enquirer has been threatening to leak his nudes.
Oh, Jeff Bezos, you don't do that.
Like, Jeff Bezos, you got news, bruh? Like, come on, bruh.
Yeah, what do you mean?
You got your news, bruh. Like, damn, dog.
What are you talking about, fam?
And like, is that much of a threat? Like, who in their right mind is thinking, damn, I want to see those Jeff Bezos nudes, Like,
yeah.
I was like, go ahead, leak them, National Enquirer. You're gonna get about 5 people watching this shit, bro. Like, ain't nobody trying to see that shit, bro.
The National Enquirer. What are they gonna do with that? They're not gonna put that out. That's crazy. Jeff Bezos. I didn't see that, but that's funny.
Yeah, you should read it. It was kind of, it was unintentionally funny. Like, it's all, it's fucked up if it's true that you get blackmailed. But the fact that they're threatening to leak your nudes is kind of funny.
Yeah. I think Woody Allen might get like,
now that we got that out,
12 million at the most. About 12
now
million.
That we talked about that, I want to hop into Liam Neeson talk.
Yeah, Liam Neeson talk.
So, for those that do not know, it's kind of hard to believe that you don't know by now. But Liam Neeson recently, I don't know if it was recent, it must be recent, that he did an interview or clip of his some interview he did came out
Yeah.
talking about when he was younger. His one of his friends said that she was raped, and he said by who? Da da da. She said it was by some black guy, and he's talking about this mind state he was in at the time, where he was just out and about for I don't know how long he said, maybe a week, 2 weeks, or something. Basically, with a weapon, a hidden weapon, basically saying that he was in the mindset that he was hoping any black bastard, is what he said, would
Yeah.
approach him or start something with him so that he could kill them in retribution, basically, for his friend.
Hmm.
And again, it got the very expected response from everybody on the internet. And
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, Liam Neeson. What do you mean you just went out and were hoping any black dude would walk out of that pub that you're standing in front of so you could kill them? Like, you're just waiting for a black guy to come out. Like, please, please, start a fight with
so,
me, you fucking black.
I mean, he didn't specify
All black
what
guys.
time, you know, this happened in his life, but
He did say he thought about it and walked around for a week or two. It was like a week or two, he said, until he calmed himself down.
yeah,
It wasn't
and
like I went out
okay,
for
and he
a
did
night.
say,
Like he thought it was on his mind.
yeah, it was a significant amount of time, but he did say that afterwards he kind of like snapped out of it and was like, "What the fuck was I doing?" You know, like, and looking back at it, it's like an embarrassing time for him, and an embarrassing
Yeah,
that he was ever at that point, like, mentally and stuff, you know. And he came out later and
true.
clarified that he's saying that he's not a racist. But of course, you know what the response was. So I just want to know, what did you think when you heard this from Liam Neeson?
Oh, that's just classic. I don't know the rules. White guy talk. He just doesn't know the rules. Liam Neeson's not racist in the sense that he actually hates like minorities, but he's partially racist in the sense that he doesn't just in the way that one would have that mindset at any point in time would suggest that that was a racist tendency. So it's like if you got racist tendencies in your own stories, then a little bit of what you're doing, it just your whole vibe is throwing me off now. I can't even like taking the same way I like taking now. Cause like, like what if your friend told you that, and then I was walking down the street at the same time, you look out the window, there was a black dude out there, and you just ran outside and did something to him because you thought it was the same guy. Like, that's scary. That's like basically him saying stories like that scare black guys. Like, that's like part of like spreading fear. It's like, oh, word, you just felt like that, and now you can just look back and it's crazy, huh? Like, like that's one of my worst fears is a dude just looking for me because
I
I
mean,
like he thinks I look like another black dude, like, and wants to kill me for it. Like, like it seems small, but it's huge at the same time. So, yeah,
apologize, folks. We had some technical difficulties, so I didn't catch all that last part. But kind of got the gist of what you're saying. So For me, I mean, it kind of harkens back to what I just talked about with the Empire actor thing, where I had said this reminded me of the tried and true
Hmm.
excuse for almost everything, where it was like some random black guy did it, you know, and why that is it's a scary thing for minorities, for people that don't know, because there's a long history of this culture where that random black guy was blamed for almost anything, which has led to a random black guy being killed over something untrue. So whenever I hear something like that, my immediate response is or reaction is like, I don't really like the way that sounded when somebody just blames, oh, just some black guy who did it, like,
Right.
and that always gives me pause in a story like this because it's like, bro, like, so you're just gonna take that at face value and just say some black guy for sure did it, and then just you know go and try to act on that? Like that's how lynching happens and stuff like that. So there was that part of it, and then my real immediate action when I was just like, Liam, why, why again? Who's
I
in your
know.
circle? Like,
I was like, that was a
who's
bad
your manager?
idea.
Like, who's telling
You
you?
could have told it.
Who didn't tell you? Like, this is a story that you should probably not tell.
Yeah. And what's crazy is
Like,
if he would have just like it's crazy because he wasn't looking for distinguishable characteristics. Like he didn't say like I was out looking for a guy about 6'2", wearing a trench coat with with gloves. Like it was just like it just sounded so crazy for me to think about. Like you're not gonna find. I don't know. It just sounded crazy. It sounded crazy. That's all I can say. And bad. I just cringy. It just cringe a little. I don't hate Liam. He's not like
yeah, and
you
I
know.
mean, like I said, it was also like, bro, like I kind of understand what he was trying to say, that he has changed as a person, and that you know even he is not immune to these like fucked up impulses and thoughts and whatever. But if I'm his
Hmm.
manager, if I'm in his circle, I'm telling Liam, why? This is a story you should not tell. This is not going to go over well at all, even if your
For
intention
real.
is good in some way. Like, my immediate reaction wasn't, oh, Liam Neeson is a racist. Like, I don't know him. I don't necessarily believe or know that if he's a racist or not. And it didn't really sound like
Right.
necessarily a racist story, but it definitely was a prejudice story. Like, I don't know if it was like, say, an Asian guy, if she said an Asian guy raped me, if he would not do the same exact thing. But
Hmm.
I knew what their reaction was going to be to it. Like,
Right.
immediately, it was going to be that he's a racist bigot. And I don't necessarily know or think that is true, but I think it shows a deeply entrenched, fucked up mentality that we have as society. And maybe he was trying to bring light to that. I can't speak for him, but this is a story
Hmm.
again. Like, why are you telling this? This
True.
is what my first thought was. Liam, baby, why? Like, why, bro?
For
Like, and then my
real.
third thought was,
Nothing about.
I need to hear Key and
Yeah,
Peele
like I get he
hop
was
on this
trying to
one.
sound like he was trying to tell a story of wanting to avenge his friend for what somebody did to her, but he just told it in a very terrible way. And probably did it in a not so critically thinking manner
Oh, it's horrible.
at the time.
Horrible the
But
way he delivered this story. And
I'll be honest, it
I,
makes me not want to see his new movie.
I mean,
If
this
I
was
was
definitely, I
slightly
think,
interested, I'm like cold now. I'm like, eh.
I mean, I've never really been that big a fan of him, but I mean, it's definitely going to hurt him for sure as a professional. But
Yeah,
I
no, they
don't,
canceled his appearance at the premiere in here in New York.
did they really?
Yeah, he's not going to be at the red carpet.
Again, I'm his manager, Liam. I appreciate the honesty, buddy, but let's not tell this one. Like, let's not say this one, bro. Like, what
For
are you
real.
doing?
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
I didn't listen to the whole interview, so I don't know like the whole context of it and
I
how
didn't see
like
the
it came
whole
up.
interview either. I saw
But
that
I just
part,
don't.
and even he didn't sound that bad either. It's just
It didn't. I
actually
didn't
saying
honestly
it.
like. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is fucking horrible. Like, you don't think
Yeah.
like as me as a realist, like I'm not surprised when somebody says that at some point in their life or whenever that they've
Hmm.
had this feeling like, okay, like this is our society. It's not like some secret that people of other colors have these thoughts, you know.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even like surprised, like, and it honestly didn't sound like a racist story to me. It sounded like
Right.
a fucked up story, but not
Yeah.
necessarily like, oh, I was just when I was younger, I hated black people, and I was always looking out to find
Yeah, he
somebody,
doesn't hate black people.
you know.
He
It
wanted to
was just
find
like,
somebody that matched that for him at that moment.
right.
It
So
didn't
like I
have
said, I
anything to
don't
do with
know. I
black
can't
people.
speak for him, so I can't say that if she had said it was an Asian guy that he would have had that same response. I can't say that.
Right.
But it the way he told the story, it definitely felt like that it would have been the same
Hmm.
reaction. You know, so I didn't
Yeah, I
even
agree.
think it was that bad of a story, but I knew how bad the reaction was going to be. And
Right.
immediately when I heard it, I was like, "Oh my god, why?"
For real.
I'm not even your manager, your PR person, but I feel bad. Like,
Fam,
why are you doing
anybody
this?
with like a British accent or like some kind of like any white dude that says black bastard, like for real, that's not in character in a movie or a TV show, is going to like get backlash. You just can't say stuff like that.
You
Like
can't.
it's just
You
not. It's
shouldn't.
just like
Keep
you
this one
know,
to yourself.
yeah, just
I
you
appreciate
know.
the honesty. It's not a
You
story we
can't say
needed.
that. You just
It's
can't
not
say
a
that.
story we needed, bro. Like,
Black
what
bastard is
was the
not in your
point?
vocabulary. Like, what are you saying?
Like, I'm not gonna lie. If I'm his guy, PR manager, whatever, and he told me this story before and said, you know, heads up, like da da da, I
If
would
he just
say,
said bastard without black, though, it probably
this is
wouldn't
what I'm
even been
saying.
as
If I was
bad.
his PR person, I would have told him, okay, look, if you ever come to a point where you want to tell this story, leave the black part of it out.
For real.
Leave that
You
out
just
completely.
said I
And
was just
then maybe
hoping that
the
bastard would come
message,
out.
yeah, maybe the message you were actually trying to put out there would have been received the way you were trying to put it out there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But because you added that racial component to it, which I
Yeah.
honestly don't believe it is the main component of the story. Like, I honestly don't think he was even thinking that way, that
No,
it was the main component.
it's such a sad twist to his sentiment because he was actually trying to say, you know, like shit, you know, like it's basically like being an advocate for sticking up for like women almost. Like it was like a sense of like trying to be like
Nah, I don't think it was being advocate. I think it was more of, like I said, like I think it was more of him talking about his growth as a person and like saying that even he, this famous guy, like had these fucked up, you know, moments, these fucked up thoughts, and
I
like
don't think he
looking
was
back,
reflecting on the moment as fucked up.
no, he was because after he said it, he said, "Now that I," and then years later when
Well,
I
yeah,
looked
but
back
like I
at
think he
this,
was putting in context the walking around and doing it part, not the actual feeling. I think he was validating the feeling, but saying that how he went about walking around actually wanting to hurt somebody was the problem. Because what he's not going to tell a story about a friend that's raped and that be the intro to like, oh, back in the day I did all this fucked up shit and I regret it. He was actually trying to say something about like more. I think it's just a complicated conversation he was trying to have with
No, I'm saying,
with
like,
poor phrasing.
again, context is really important here, and I have not heard the whole interview. I don't even know if they've put out the whole interview, but hearing that small snippet,
Yeah, it's hard to say.
but I don't even think race was like was even like a main component of the story he was trying to tell. I just think he was trying to speak factually about what happened,
Yeah.
and being from a different country, I don't think he even thought about it like that. Like it would be received the way he said it, and like I knew when he said it, like immediately, like this is going to go bad. This is going to go horribly bad.
Right. He was like, "Ooh, yeah, I should apologize."
Okay, I'm looking at the interview right now. So he said specifically right after he said it, he said it was horrible. It was horrible when I think back that I did that, and I've never admitted that before.
Mm-hmm. It was horrible.
And he said it's awful, but I did learn a lesson from it.
Yeah.
And he eventually thought, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. Well, still not going to the premiere.
And then he says, I grew up in a society in Northern Ireland that comes from trouble, and all this stuff, and he talks about it more. So it wasn't just like that, and then it was like his takeaway wasn't he was trying to be some avenger. No, he was saying, like, he specifically said, thinking back, and I'm like, what the fuck were you doing? And he feels horrible about it. And so this, and he was talking about like understanding this need, deep need inside of him for like revenge, and like not really knowing why he felt like he needed that, but then like realizing how fucked up it was the way that he was thinking, like that. So I don't take it. I did not take it horribly. I did not take it as like a horrible thing. Like I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew exactly how it was going to be responded to.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how it responded to. And he was like talking about revenge and how that only leads to more revenge and more killing. And, he's from Ireland, and they have a long history of that stuff, Yeah. So he was talking about like the violence and the mindset and all that. And that primal, like, fucked up feelings he had. And how he came out understanding himself better after that, and like thinking back about that. So like again, it was not that bad. Like, let's be honest with people, it was not that bad. But the fact that the black was in there was going to be the only point that people heard from what he was trying to say, and I knew it. And right when I heard it, I was just thinking, yeah, probably should have kept that one to yourself,
Yeah, man.
So,
well, we'll see. I mean, people will just blow it. It'll blow over.
It'll blow over eventually. But I mean, I don't agree with the backlash that people gave it, but I understood how it was going to be received. And again, it's a 2-minute clip of probably like an over hour and a half interview.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because he was pretty comfortable talking already,
and everything. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know like what the context was leading up to everything. So, but they knew what was going to catch headlines, and that's what they clipped up and put out. So I don't know, man. And I mean, my last thought when I heard it and was definitely, where's Key and Peele when you need them? Like I need, I need a skit. I need another valet episode of this one,
For real. That would be hilarious. That would be sick. But, oh, man. I forgot about how much I missed those skits. Like, their sketch comedy. Man. There's no sketch comedy anymore. Except for, like, SNL, but Mm.
Yeah, and SNL's kind of
Yeah, they're whack unless there's something big in politics happening.
it's all politics.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of our reactions and thoughts about the whole Liam Neeson shit. And as you can see, we don't necessarily think it was that horrible of a thing that he said, but it was definitely horribly conveyed and worded, and definitely knew it was going to be horribly received. Um,
yeah.
but what did you guys think about it? Did you immediately jump to saying that he is racist? Do you not see, or do you see the bigger statement that he was really trying to convey? Do you think this was just horribly worded? Do you think he'll bounce back? Are you no longer a Liam Neeson fan after this? I mean, you guys let us know in the comments down below. Last topic that I wanted to talk about was we recently had an article posted today, actually. Obviously, I read it way before because I am the editor, but by one Steven Silver, who actually provides a lot of in-depth type of articles and editorials that we talk about on here because they're always, conversation worthy, and they present some topics that I think are great to talk about. And on this last one, it is titled "On That Movie Can Never Be Made Today," and the whole premise is basically talking about a phrase that is heard a lot, especially today, about people saying that movie can never be made today. Um, Talking about movies from the past that are, more, I guess, shocking and crude and vulgar and non-politically correct, and basically implying that those works are better than what's out today. But
Mm-hmm.
and he did a really good job of talking and going more in depth about exploring from his perspective what people really mean, if it's true or not, and gives examples. And a big example he uses that people always bring up is Blazing Saddles, the classic Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to know what you think. Like, do you think there are movies that could never be made today? And do you think, do you think if that is so, is it for the fact that they are less PC than the culture is today, or do you just think times have changed and people's taste in movies have changed? Basically, that is more the reason than that they couldn't be made.
Yeah, so that's it's an interesting question. That the phrase that movie can never be made today.
I mean, I hear it a lot. I don't even really think about it, but I do hear it quite often.
Yeah, definitely.
From, like,
I mean,
people online and everything.
there's movies from the 90s. Most 90s movies, if you watch them now, people say that because of how, like, misogynistic some lines come across, and there's a lot of objectification involved in a lot of stuff, even TV shows. So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to say. I think certain people mean different things. I think it depends on who's saying it and why that person's saying it. Because to me, I think it comes down to answer what you were saying about like if it's with like the times changing. I think it is more so. I think the times, but also the times and technology, and just how information travels. Because before movies were made and consumed a certain way, and the home theater wasn't necessarily the box office. Whereas now, the box office is technically my living room. Like Netflix has their feature, Grammy nominated movies when they come out,
Oscar.
Their first day is on the computer. I could watch it on the computer. It's first day release. Yeah. Oscar, I said Grammy. But yeah, so like those kinds of things change just how it's consumed, but then, that many more people are there's just so much more information that I think there's less ignorance about things, but there's also more of a consideration of it being able to get to that many people. So I think it's forcing PC-ness a little bit in this time right now because anyone's allowed to have an opinion, and if their opinion is valid but in a negative way against what you're doing, then you suffer for it, even though like you may not have intended for it to come across like that. Their opinion is still valid, and what your work may have like caused them to feel, you can't like undo. So then you're just left with the backlash, unintentional backlash. So I don't know, it's hard to say. It's like, but he kind of touched on that a little bit too.
Yeah, a lot actually.
Yeah.
So for me, I was thinking about it. I thought about it a lot after reading, and because it's something I didn't necessarily really think about until he presented it the way he did. And I'm trying to think how to say this. So I actually kind of do agree that certain movies from the past cannot be made today because things are a bit more politically correct and people don't receive things the same way that they did in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a difference between being, crude or vulgar or more outlandish and shocking than being like misogynistic, racist, or stuff like that. Because there's still plenty of shocking, vulgar, crude type movies out there that aren't politically correct, with the times, but they're not mean spirited. They're not based on racist, themes or prejudices out there. They're not based on just random misogyny. So yeah, there is part of it that, and for me, like it really depends on what type of person you are and how you kind of take that. If you miss those racist jokes from like Dumbo and racist caricatures from Dumbo and shit like that, then of course you're never going to see that type of movie again because people just aren't having it. Like I'm not having it. Like I don't want to see that shit in cartoons anymore,
Right.
The fucking shucking and driving and shit like that. Like I don't want to see that shit again. But not for the fact that I don't think Dumbo should be made again. Obviously it's being fucking made again. But they're leaving out those racist parts because again, people especially of minority and different categories have much larger voices. Thanks in part to social media, money, whatever, So, sure, I guarantee you that people felt a certain type of way about seeing those characters in Dumbo when it came out.
Oh yeah.
But they didn't have the power or the platform to really voice that displeasure, that that dissent against shit like that at the time.
All right.
So, yes, you cannot make the exact same type of movie that you made years ago. But to me, that's better. Like, of course.
Yeah.
Like, if your only way of making shocking, funny, whatever type of movie is by employing lowbrow, racist epitaphs, caricatures, or just low bar misogyny and shit like that, it's just not a fucking good movie, Like, you're
Right.
just not a good creator. You're not a good, like I said, creator. Like, that's more on you than I think as some bad sign of society and where it's heading, and being soft and sensitive. Like, I'm of the type that I do think the times are at times overly sensitive, but I don't. But when it comes to shit like that, like specifically like the racist shit and the overly misogynistic, like random shit like that, like I just don't see the point of it, and I just think it's just lazy movie making and screenwriting if that's your only way of conveying some sort of message. And sure, you might not get that same shit. So like, if you yearn for those days of like blackface to come back, fuck you. Them shit's never coming back, and that's for a good reason, right?
Yeah.
You'll never get another Birth of a Nation ever again in fucking America, and that's for a good fucking reason. So yeah, certain movies cannot be made again, but that's not for like always for a horrible reason or bad reason. It's not for the worst. If anything, it's for the better, and it pushes people to have to actually be better creators, be better, screenwriters, just be better at your fucking craft. Sure, it's harder. Like, what the fuck? Like, okay. And this is how I kind of feel about a lot of comedians too, is that sure, some of those easy jokes won't fly anymore. Be a better fucking comedian and think outside the box.
Well,
It's
that's
not
what
like
I'm
the end
saying
of
is the
fucking
audience
day.
is more educated now. There was a lot of naivete involved in Hollywood and just movie making for the since Hollywood started, since there were movies, there's been a lot of, just like the movies are only going to be as educated as the people want them to be in that time. So like the movies are, I feel like, time capsules of like what,
That period for sure, 1,000%.
So like that's what I appreciate about movies. So I don't necessarily want things that are in the past to be remade because it ruins the like time capsule. So like you have to recontextualize and then even rewrite, to take something old to remake
Yeah,
it
I mean,
in today's time.
nostalgia is great until it becomes poison. Until
Right.
it keeps you from growth, and it keeps you from, you know, change, and like I said, growth and shit like that. Like, yeah, it's great until it stops you from growing as a person and as a society. Like, that's when it becomes a fucking problem. And like, I understand his argument. Like, there definitely are certain groups of people out there that just wish the good old days, were back again. And if that's what you're looking for in your movies, sorry to tell you that that's not fucking coming back, and for a good reason. They shouldn't come back. But at the same time, back in the day, we never would have got a movie like, which he brings up, which was a great fucking point. Is that sure? But back in the day, we never got a movie like Get Out.
Yeah,
Never would have got a
exactly.
movie like Sorry to Bother You.
Mm-hmm.
Movies like this, we never would have got them shits. So it goes both ways, and it's not better or worse necessarily. It's just that things have changed, and people are getting better at storytelling. People are getting better at creating shit and like trying to get a message point, and like without having to resort to such honestly lazy tactics.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not like there's movies out there that aren't PC. Like, there's plenty of them that aren't, and he provides some good examples. But again, times change, and honestly, I don't think Blazing Saddles is even a great movie to hold up as saying like that can never be made today, because I used to love that movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember even thinking like, damn, this was made at that time period, because it's weird to think that, because that shit was so ahead of its time.
Yeah,
It was a
definitely.
satire about all the shit that they see in movies, basically.
Yeah,
But all the
yeah,
racist shit, all the misogyny, all the fucked up parts, particularly when it came to how they portrayed black people, in movies. And they
right.
were basically skewering it the whole fucking time. So if you
Yeah,
missed the point that that's what they were doing, that movie was never for you, because the whole point of the
right.
movie was to shit on people that liked or shit on those type of movies that all played into those stereotypes and tropes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. And he makes another great ending argument saying that Blazing Saddles may not be the like. Let me get the exact words he says. If Blazing Saddles can never be made today, it's because there isn't a talent on Mel Brooks' level currently working in comedy.
Mm-hmm. That's a
Yeah,
perfect point.
yeah, and that's I just thought that was like a perfect little fucking like bow on the argument. Like it's not has nothing really to do with the messaging and the storytelling. It's like the talent and the ability to convey the message.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be an artist. You gotta be inspired and not everybody's can be a revolutionary and come up with some genius shit and compose it in a way that comes across
It
like it
doesn't
is
have to
true.
rely on such cheap and lazy tactics. Yeah,
Yep. Nah, I feel you.
like Cry Me a River. So I
I
mean,
mean, but yeah, but I mean, just to like put some credence into to that can never be made again, or that could never be made today. That I feel like that's somebody's statement saying they disapprove of something specific.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like whatever that movie is, something specific in it could not be produced that way again right now
hmm
without severe backlash. Like basically something it couldn't this segment of the movie couldn't be presented this way or like this premise, but like
quite
yeah.
possibly not exactly in the way it was. I don't have an exact number, but quite possibly in the way it was exactly made. Sure,
Mhm.
but you can guarantee you can still convey the intention, but in a better
Right.
way. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, shit is harder. Like you said, the audience is more educated. They know what the fuck they want. They know what they don't want. They don't want. And they've seen shit so many times that yeah, you have to always reinvent the way you present stuff.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
like old movies are old for a reason, you know.
Right.
So
For
I don't
real.
necessarily want to go back and see the exact same style. Like I don't want to see an '80s like romp in every one of my movies and shit like that. You know, I don't want to see that style particularly again in all my movies.
Right.
Like that time has passed. We've evolved. We've changed. We've become more sophisticated as consumers.
Yeah. For sure.
But it's definitely a great article. Another great article. Presents some great points and I think it makes great conversation. So if you have not read it, you should definitely head on over to the site and check it out because I think it is a fantastic article. And like I said, it's one worth reading and it makes you think. Definitely makes you think. And what are your thoughts about some of the questions he presents? Do you agree that there are certain movies that cannot be made today because they are non-politically correct, or do you think it's because the audience and the consumers have just become more sophisticated in what they want? And yeah, so I mean, let us know. Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll talk right back at you and have a nice little conversation about it. But yeah, that's it, man. That's it for today's show. We covered everything I wanted to cover.
For sure.
Again, today's date was February 2019. And again, if you like any of the Get Rock these videos, these podcasts, you should definitely head on over to the official site where you can grab some for yourself. If you have any questions, comments, topic suggestions, just want to say what's up, you can let us know in the comments down below wherever this goes up, wherever you watch us or listen to us. You can also email us directly at podcast@livinglifefearless.co, or you can go to livinglifefearless.co/podcast and fill out the form there. And who knows, your question, comment, or whatever might make the next episode. But until then, you guys, we will be back with another show soon. But until then, do what, Darius?
Y'all keep living life fearless.
Yes, sir.
Cop that merch too.
Yep.
Shit's fly.
We will be back. Thank you guys for listening. As always, if you're loving these, please smash that like and subscribe button for us wherever you guys listen to us, and we'll keep trying to bring you some dope content.
Definitely.
Till then, catch you guys soon.
Peace.